sort of emerged as the guy. Just kind of tell us where you think he's at in his development right now.
I mean, obviously he's still coming along. I think he's done a good job to this point in establishing himself as a very productive guy. He's been pretty consistent, for the most part. I mean, there's ups and downs like there is in any season, but he's shown and proven to be pretty durable. He's only gotten better. I feel like seeing the game, making the adjustments on the fly. Didn't get in the end zone this past week, but still like where he is. I mean, that was a tough team we played, and that's a really good defense, and we've got another challenge this week. But really like where he is as well as the rest of the unit. I think as a whole, I think we've bought into our roles, and I really like where this unit is right now.
What did it mean to have Dylan back and have some more depth there?
It means a lot. I mean, he and Maccabee are doing a great job, as well as Kobe. Kobe did a great job while Dylan was out, and Dylan is a guy who's played a lot of football. He's seen a lot of pictures, so it's always exciting to get an experienced guy back in the room, and I think he's moving well and getting back healthy and everything. So it's a really good situation right there with those three kids.
From a running standpoint, when you look at Illinois' defense, I mean, their numbers are pretty impressive, probably more impressive than the last two teams that you faced. What do you guys need to do to penetrate that and generate some yards on the ground?
There's no doubt. I mean, this team is a formidable opponent, number one defense in America, and they've done a great job. They win games on defense, and the running back is probably, if not the best, one of the best in the country. So we've got a tremendous challenge ahead of us, but we can't so much focus on them. It's about us and us executing our assignments, taking care of the football. We've got to do a great job in that department. And making sure we take what the defense gives us, keep ourselves on schedule, not try to get off schedule with negative plays, turnovers obviously, and then just making sure we break tackles, run hard, and find a way to get in the end zone. I think if we do those things, then I think we'll like the outcome at the end of the day.
How many more jumps can Devin Maccabee make during this season? I mean, obviously made these huge jumps to get into the position to play in the first place, but how much more improvement could we expect to see as the season goes on?
I think a lot. He and I had a conversation earlier about him staying hungry and always raising the bar to elevate his level of play, challenging himself to new heights, new challenges. And I think he's up for the challenge. He's kind of wired that way. He was raised that way. He's a worker bee, and all he knows is to bring his hard hat and his lunch pail every day and go to work and try to be better today than he was yesterday. And I think that's just a tribute to his coaching coming up, his high school coaches, and then his family, his upbringing. Always staying hungry. He's a humble kid. He never lets things get to his head, and he's always trying to find ways to improve. And I think I'd like to see him take the next step in pass protection, and I think he's challenging himself in that department. And so that's an area where I know he's really trying to take the next step, but also continue to elevate his play with the ball in his hands too.
Chris, he's got over 600 yards rushing. There's a chance he could get to 1,000. Well, what would that mean?
Everything. I haven't done enough history to know who the last 1,000-yard rusher was around here, but I know that's something that he's optimistic about and hopeful for, as well as I. I think the kid deserves it. He's worked his tail off, as the whole room has. But I mean, really, he's really done a great job just seeing the game, running hard, playing through some very different looks that we've seen throughout the season. He's just found various ways to be effective. And so I think the kid is working his tail off, and hopefully it comes to fruition for him. But I know the offensive line, they believe in him, and there's a different excitement when he gets back there. So hopefully as a unit we can make that happen.
Corey Sheets.
Yeah.
Corey Sheets.
About 2008 or 9.
Wow. Okay. Well, that's a great challenge, and definitely, we're looking forward to it. We're going to do everything possible to try to get that done, but also the main thing is about doing what it takes to win the game.
Just, sorry, go ahead.
Jeff Bauman mentioned Illinois sort of used that 5 defensive linemen front out at times. What do the running backs need to do to get around that and work past that if the offensive line's tied up with that?
Right. They do a good job kind of mixing up their fronts. They move quite a bit, and they pressure. So that presents challenges for any offense, protection, and then the running game, making sure our tracks are right and making sure we're disciplined with our eyes, and make sure that they pay, when they do blitz and things like that. Maybe a guy gets out of gap or things like that. We just got to make sure we're on point and we're sound and we're attentive to details. And I think that we can gain some yards. I mean, it's not going to be easy by any stretch of the imagination, but we've got to really make sure we're tied in with the O-line, seeing the adjustment calls, making sure our tracks are disciplined, and making sure we're playing with good eye discipline when we see movement and blitzes and things like that. And I think that there are opportunities, and those young men have been working hard, and I think they're ready for it.
Just the step that the overall running game took this year, because you've had some lean years. You've had good backs, but just not the yardage, and a lot of that's based on play calling and all that kind of stuff. But just the step that this group has taken, and now as you look to build on this, as you get through the rest of the season and into next year.
I mean, it's been a pleasant surprise. We've had, some guys have kind of carried over, but we've had some new guys, Devin Mockabee, Dylan Downing. His transformation from last year to this year, from his body, losing 20 pounds, moving better. Mockabee, just a different element back there, and the way he moves. It's been like you said, it's been a missing element for us, and it's something that I've really tried to dive into in the offseason and evaluate the position and how it's moving. The movement skills is really what I wanted to dive into and make sure that I correct the movement. We need to move differently in order to gain more yards. And so I've kind of shifted the way I recruit now and the type of athletes I'm looking at. So you can see we're kind of getting a little bit more streamlined, a little smaller, but a little better in the open field, if that makes sense. Just movement skills, change of direction skills, ability to bend and get in those tight holes and creases and things like that. I think that really has helped us take the next step as a unit. And some of those runs that we're able to create now, we weren't really able to generate those before in the past, just from a movement skills perspective. Maybe we were too big and bulky, and we couldn't really bend and get down in some of these tight holes and things. But I think this group is really taking they've done a good job this offseason at really evaluating themselves and working with our equipment staff. Our strength and conditioning staff to make sure that their bodies are right. And they've done a good job in the offseason and the summer working on their movement skills in the open field. Not so much a bunch of lifting, let's work on our movement skills. And I think that's really helped out, as well as the O-line. I mean, they've really taken the next step and gotten way more physical, better discipline with the tracks. They're passing things off, they're communicating. So it all ties in.
Marks hasn't played this year, but what has he done in practice? What does the future hold for him?
Same thing. I mean, he's kind of a guy that we need to see a little bit more of in spring. He's had an injury. He's been out for a little bit, but we'll see him a lot in the spring ball and see where he is. But I like his movement skills from what I saw from him early on. He's more of a streamlined type of guy, a fluid mover, an athlete, and that's what I'm looking for, is athleticism, the ability to move and get in tight spaces, catch the football, operate in space, as well as be tough in the box. And so I think he's got a chance. He's got to put on some weight, but he's got a chance.
Thank you, Chris.
Thanks, Chris. Appreciate it.
Appreciate
No
it.
problem.